Hi, and welcome to another episode of Just Bushcraft. I hope you all had a lovely Christmas, as I did. I managed to acquire myself some of these fancy trousers from my lovely wife, and also I managed to acquire a Gransfors miniature hatchet, or hatchet as they call it. So what I'm going to do today, even though it's a Christmas present, I'm going to set it alight, sort of. I'm going to bring up the grain a bit more and just personalise it a bit more, sort of to my likes, because it is nice to personalise your own gear. I know sometimes you can go to some of these bushcraft meets and everybody's got the same knife and same rucksack and same trousers and da-da-da-da-da, but sometimes it's nice to sort of break away from the normality and start personalising your own gear so you know it's yours. I mean, there's nothing worse than literally going to a meet, you put your axe down and everybody's got the same axe, even though the grain is slightly different is on the axis, so you can pretty much tell your own apart from others. But if it's completely different, then it just sticks out like a sore thumb, so to speak. So without further ado, let's go and set light to my new axe. Okay, so I know this is a little bit strange to some people, and the people that don't want to torch their axes, that's perfectly fine, but you can watch me instead. So if it goes horribly wrong, then I've only got myself to blame. So what I need is, I need a few things today. I need just one of these little gas burner things. They're pretty handy. They're relatively cheap on eBay. I mean, you can pick them up for less than 10 quid, or I don't know, 20 bucks, 10 bucks even, I'm not sure. But what my plan to do is, this grain here, I want to make that pop out a bit, and if you just look at the grain, it just runs down there, and I can pop this out and it'll look a little bit more interesting. But these little bits here, they really stand out really well if you get that right. But the idea is not to really scorch it and obviously set it alight. I'm not looking to do that. All I'm looking to do is a surface burn along the grain there. I want to leave this bit here because obviously I want to leave the name on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to literally chase these little grain lines down there, and if I wanted to I could burn that as well. So what I don't want to do is, obviously I don't want to burn the handle, but I want to keep the sheath on just in case, because I'm going to be handling it and I don't want to be cutting myself. So here we go. But what I don't want to do, I don't want a vicious flame. I mean, obviously you can have it as high or as low as you like. I just want it sort of like almost like a simmering shape, not simmering, a low flame. So what I want to do then is I just want to literally just start. Obviously it's going to burn the wood, but you've got to keep it moving. And see how it's almost like a paintbrush. See that burning there is not what I want. So I want to just make the flame a little bit less hot. So I'm just gonna, that's it. See how it's just starting to do that? See, I'm just starting to, I'm literally, it's almost like I got its paint strokes. See how that's starting to pop out there? It looks different now, but once we give it a sand, it'll look a lot better. What's really good is that you're also heating up the handle, and what that allows us to do is that when we go to oil it, the oil should just literally soak straight into it. So these bits here, look, if I just literally, almost like I'm painting with a brush. And I'm literally only surface burning it there. Obviously you don't want to be breathing these fumes in, so that's why it's a good idea to do it on the outside. Okay, let's do it strong now. Just literally up and down, follow the grain through and just burn that away like that. So this is the real cool bit, this bit here. This bit should look really nice. See how if I leave it in one space too long, it's it just literally starts burning the wood, and I don't want that. I can always pull the torch away if it's going to get too hot. Just being careful around the writing, I don't want to burn the writing off. Okay, I'll do that. I want to go up near the axe head. I mean, just follow the lines down. I mean, it's pretty cool. Takes a little while to do it, but just persevere and just literally all we're trying to do is blacken it out a bit. There we go. Let's turn it around. So already the wood is getting lovely and warm. So that will help when we add the oil to it, which should make the grain pop even more when we put that on. So I'm just literally almost paintbrushing it there. A little bit there, that looks nice. And by just surface burning it like this, you're not actually damaging the actual axe itself. Get all the little bits of grain there. So when you're doing this, you can sort of see, if you're sort of adding too much heat, because the wood starts to burn and you get these little black areas, which you could probably see anyway, but that is literally bound to happen. I mean, if you want to give this a go, don't be afraid. If you get it really wrong, you can just sand it back out again. But I see that I went way too hot there, so never mind, just keep going. See, once you've done it, you've almost committed. See, all I'm trying to do is literally, it's almost like Sharpie in it. Okay, just a little bit more to go. I'm going to do around the head here. This has got a nice bit of grain there. That should pop out quite nice when we... when you've done these a few times, you can really see, you get a feel for it, and it isn't as hard as it looks. A lot of it is just committing to having a go of it. I mean, we all know how attached we get to our gear and how personalised it becomes to us. So the thought of actually putting a flame maybe to your favourite axe is probably not everybody's cup of tea. I mean, when I first did my first axe, I must admit it was all touch and go. I'm just going to do the ends here. If you look at the ends, you can get, you've got the grain over there, and you can get that come up quite nice. Do the edges. I like getting black bits on the edge there, just charring it a little bit. Just char around the hole there, because I like that. And the same with this side. Just char around there. And this bit here looks like it just needs a little bit more work. Just sort of quickly going over some bits that I think that just may need a little bit more of attention. Okay, so that's pretty burnt up. So what I'm going to do, but you can also see it's only just surface burnt it. You can sand that back out if you don't like it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to sand that and just see how that comes out. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly sand it down, see what we got. Important to keep that off the ground because it's very damp, makes your paper damp otherwise. And so obviously safety first, just make sure that that's still got its sheath on. Obviously I've got it off, it's holding there, should be fine. So what I'm going to do then is just start sanding it down. This is supposed to be a reasonably soft sandpaper, but this is not as soft as I normally use it. I normally use the wet and dry stuff, but this is all I had left, so hey ho, what I'll have to do. And see, there's a burnt bit there, so I can just pay a little bit more of attention to that area. Even if it's got some oil on the handle, you can still be able to burn it. It should burn quite nicely. I mean, this has got fresh oil on it, obviously from the factory. Right, let's have a look. So I've got most of the burnt marks out. Still looking not quite where I want it at the moment. I'm just going to try and sand that a bit more, and then we'll have a look. I might have to burn that again. Okay, so what I've done is I've burnt it, I've sanded it, and I'm just going to give it a quick another burn because as you sometimes rub in areas a little bit harder than others, it literally starts to rub your burn off. So I'm just going to quickly go back over it, and then hopefully that should be the lot for the burning. So I'm literally just chasing some of those areas in again, like so. Normally what happens when you do the first burn, it's more than likely just burning the oils. See, now I've sanded all the burnt oil off, it's just literally wood now. So just keep it moving all the time, because let's say you'll burn the wood, and then you've got to sort of sand a lot in one area than you would in others. Okay, let's see what we got there then. So I'm going to give it another sand, put this somewhere nice so I don't burn myself. Here we go, second sand. This time I'm trying to be a bit lighter with it and not go so mad with it. I'll tell you, this axe handle is lovely and warm, for the obvious reasons. Maybe up near the axe head itself, and especially around this bit here. I mean, you might actually like that effect, it's no big deal. I mean, there's no rights and wrongs, it's what you like as an individual. I mean, you might not even like this at all, but you can. I'll show you an axe of mine I did, and I like it. Okay. So it's the old grains, you can see the grain a lot more now, it's more defined. Okay. Okay, so what have I got? I've got some Danish, Rustin's Danish oil. I do actually believe that this is quite old stuff, so the tin's slightly different now. I've had this for years. So I'm just going to put this in. The really good thing about this is if you don't like it, with the heated up handle it dries really quickly. And if you don't like it, you can either resand it down or do it again. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get this tissue, and this will dry really quickly even though I'm outside. So I'm just going to put some oil on there. Try not to drop it on the ground, obviously. I want to contaminate the area we're in. And as you can see, it's just brought the grain out a little bit more, and by putting the oil on it you're actually just sort of obviously preserving the wood, because it's so warm. just darkened it up a little bit. I quite like the burnt areas. I mean, okay, I don't want too many burnt areas. I'm working the oil in there, around there, obviously round the hole there. Should tip some in there really, but because I'm outside and I've got no way of stopping any contamination to the ground, and I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I should do that tonight or later on today and just let it dry overnight. Believe it or not, that is already drying. See, it's already dry. So I should quickly put another coat on and then call it a day. But as you can see, look, it's okay. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I think, to me personally, that makes it just a little bit more interesting. I mean, you could rub these bits out a bit more. I mean, you know, these areas here look nice because the flames brought it out. But generally, you can't see that. If it's just plain and you're oiling it, sometimes you lose that effect. And even though that's smooth, but it's still safe to use. I mean, some people like theirs a little bit rough, so there's a little bit more grip. You can always put a bit of spit on your hands, and your hands will grip to that if you're using it. It's still perfectly safe to use. So let me just put some more oil on that. Okay, I haven't done this end obviously for the obvious reasons, but I mean, I don't know, I like that. And to me, that's personalising it, it's mine. And if you wanted to be a little bit more braver, you could always burn in some initials, but I quite like this charred bit around the edge here. I mean, that's me, that's just my personal taste. I don't expect everybody else to take that taste as well. So I'll just leave that there. Okay, just to show you what you can do. I mean, the grain's completely different, but this is another one that I did, and the effect is really nice. It's got some really nice grain marks out. I quite like the way that this is slightly come out slightly different. Maybe I rushed this one a little bit too much, but you can see this is the nicer side, and this to me is not the so nicer side. But I mean, that is really smooth, but it's still safe to use. I say a bit of spit in the hand, you put a bit of grip on that, and you can tell that it's just personalised it a little bit more. Within time, I mean, that's still a bit of wet there now. I'm just gonna hold that up, but that's pretty dry. I mean, this handle is still warm, obviously compared to this one, which is stone cold. But you can see there, look, I've burnt the name away and rubbed it away a bit too much, but I wanted to preserve that one, so I was a little bit more careful. But you can see the grain there just popping out there. I mean, you could take the black out a little bit more if you like, with a brownish, but I mean, sort of trying to make it like this one. But this one is, you know, this one's nice. I use this, you know, regularly. It's not a show axe, it's a working axe, but you can see I've personalised it. And the end there's sort of, I mean, I've left the charring on. I haven't charred it so much as this one, but this one, I quite like this one. This one's come out particularly well. I mean, it could have, but the thing about woods is that they're all different. You know, they've got different grains, sometimes different characteristics. They turn out slightly different. I mean, we're outside as well. Last time I did one of these, I did it inside. But this has got wonderful grain on it. But you can see between the two. Okay. So that was my attempt at burning my Christmas axe. Some of you might like it, some of you may not like it, but if you want to give it a go, obviously safety first. Make sure that, you know, all your equipment is working properly and you're in an area where you're not going to catch anything alight. I mean, you can see it, it's damp out here, it's slightly a little bit misty today, so it's I'm not going to catch nothing alight. But if you do this at home, also be careful, and if you have a go, good luck. Well, thanks for watching, and I will probably see you now in the new year.